Part 3. And by making them become something that they didn't want to become. So she had no desire to have a relationship with him at all. And you can see the look on Michael's face. He didn't want this. He really didn't. And I think he's starting to understand that his obsession with vengeance has cost him dearly. But I think he's become so hardened to it over the years it just doesn't matter anymore. He wants Klaus dead, and that's what's going to happen. So, anyway, back to Damon and Tyler and Bonnie. He's like, why are you migrating me? You're only supposed to migrate Tyler. He's like, well, you weren't supposed to try to kill Tyler. He bit me. Or he tried to bite me. It was cute little scene. I'm like, Bonnie, are you really that dumb? Really? Well, she's dumb. I think she's just still kind of, she's so set in her ways, and we don't ever really be able to change her. Anyway, he puts the steak back in his pocket. She's like, what's that? He's like, nothing. She's like, wait a minute, is that the... He's like, shh. They're here. They're everywhere. And she says, why do you have it? He's all, because I'm the only one that could get in the front door. Which is true. Stefan had been invited in. Michael was not. So he's stuck standing at the front door waiting. While this goes on, Klaus tells his little minions that if anything should happen, that they are to protect him on pain of their life. That they're to make sure that he doesn't die, even if that means tearing Michael apart. One of his minions comes up to him and says he has a visitor. At first he's like, whatever. But then she says that the person's name is Michael, and he's demanding to see Klaus. You could see what little color is in Klaus's face just drains. His eyes, he's just like. The funny thing about this is that Klaus is the one that goes on and on about your humanity is killing you, and you can't, you have to shut it off. And he acts like he has none, like he can't feel anything, and that is such a load of crap. Because this episode blatantly shows that yes, Klaus does feel. The only person that can make him feel in any way, shape, or form is Michael. And that feeling is one of inadequacy and fear. So he walks up to the front door, and Michael's standing there. Of course, he can't cross the threshold, and Klaus thinks he's, oh, so I'm hot shit because you can't touch me because I'm here and you're there. And, and all I have to do is snap my fingers like this and my high reach rend you limb from him. And yes, I know that won't kill you, but it'll still be a fun little party game. And Michael says to him, you realize that you are nothing, that all you have, you don't have anybody to stand by you, you have no one that cares about you. The only people you have are the ones whose loyalty that you beget by force. And you can see the look on Klaus's face is he's like that little kid all over again from the flashbacks from the previous episode. He feels like that little kid again who keeps being berated and torn down and treated like crap. For someone who says that they no longer know how to feel, it's pretty obvious that he does feel. So the argument that they have, the scene between them and the door is so powerfully charged, it's ridiculous. Michael grabs Elena and threatens to kill her if Klaus doesn't come out and face him. And Klaus is like, you would do that. He says, oh, you want to try me? Because, if I do, then this lot you have here will be the last you ever have. He's like, it doesn't matter. All that matters is that I'll be rid of you. So he calls his bluff. He says, go ahead and kill her. Kill her. Kill her. And so he stabs her in the back. And at first I saw it, I was like, oh my god, he just did Elena. Oh shit. But I knew it couldn't be that easy. We wouldn't just let her die like that. I knew there had to be something up their sleeve. There had to be something. And the look on Klaus' face, I mean, what little blood was left on his face just drained out of his face, and his mouth was, oh my god, I can't believe you just did that. Because he honestly didn't think that his father was going to really do that. And he did. And he was absolutely in shock. Because she was his meal ticket. Now his little blood bag is dead. He's like, why are you doing this to me? You wouldn't think you would ever see Klaus cry, and yet he did. Because Michael just kept tearing him down and ripping him down and saying you're nothing and no one cares about you and no one loves you. And, it was your impulse that keeps you from being great. And while he's distracted, Catherine jumps up. It's Catherine because she jumps up and he looks back at her and he goes, Catherine. I did not know that Michael knew who Catherine was because she didn't know who he was when she first found out about him. I had no idea that he even knew her. Or maybe he just knew of the doppelganger legend. I don't know. Because, he's been pursuing Klaus for so long that he probably is aware of the doppelganger curse and all that stuff. Or at least he's aware of who she is because he's been pursuing him for that long that he probably knows everything that's happened in his life. But anyway, she has the wolfsbane grenades in her hand, and she's at the close. She goes, boom, click. She throws them, and they go boom. Bye bye hybrids. Awesome. That was freaking awesome. I don't particularly like Hat that much, but she has her moments where she's definitely cool as shit. She was cool in this scene, and then later on in the episode, she becomes definitely not cool. Well, quasi-cool, I guess. But anyway, Klaus doesn't know what to think of her. He's like, what the hell? He's totally distracted. Damon comes up from behind and stabs him in the chest with the ashwood stake. Flips him over on the ground. And just when you think that they were finally rid of Klaus has got his hand on Damon's. They're fighting for it. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Stefan just jumps into the fray and pulls Damon off of Klaus, which makes the stake fall from Damon's hand, and now Klaus is free. And Damon looks at him like, "What are you doing?" I think everybody at the same time was like, "What are you doing?" So in that instant of confusion, Klaus grabs the stake on the floor, runs outside, topples Michael, and stakes him in the chest and kills him. And he lights on fire and burns up, and he's gone. It doesn't matter that the hybrids are gone. The fact is, Daddy's dead, and that's what Klaus wanted all along. So Damon looks up at him and says, "How could you do this? We had him. How could you do this? What did you do this for?" Klaus walks in and says, because he wanted his freedom, and now he's earned it. Because he had already told Stefan before that if you do as I tell you and you make sure that I don't get hurt, I will take the compulsion off of you so that you won't have to do what I say. So now that it appears as though he's gone through with that promise by keeping Damon from killing him, he takes the compulsion off of him. Not the compulsion to not feel, but the compulsion to have to do whatever he says and not be able to lie to him. And he looks back down and Damon's gone. Total craziness. So that whole time at the homecoming dance, Elena was not there. So that it is true. That's what Damon's idea was, that he wanted her out of the way, so he replaced her with Catherine so that she wouldn't be hurt. The next scene, I have to say, is probably one of the best Damon and Elena scenes ever in the show's history. Ever. Second only to the Damon Catherine / Elena kissing scene from the end of season 1. The porch scene. I mean, Damon is absolutely beside himself because he had him. I mean, he had him in his grasp. All he had to do was just push down a little harder, and it would have been a done deal. He is so angry. I can't even believe how well he's able to control himself. But we all know what Damon does when he gets angry. He gets volatile. He gets violent. But Elena's there, and this is curious right here. She's like, what happened? How could this happen? He's like, I don't know. We had every contingency planned for. We had a contingency about the hybrids. We had a contingency if Michael was to turn on us. We brought Rebecca and we brought Catherine in so you wouldn't have to be there, so that you wouldn't be hurt. I mean, we thought of everything. But what they didn't realize, and they even thought of Stefan. That was why they got him out of the way, so he wouldn't pose a problem. But they didn't realize, they didn't know what was really going on. Damon was so angry, you could see it just floating out of his pores. And he took the bottle of alcohol he had in his hands and threw it in the fire and caused it to just go. Elena walks over to him and tries to grab his arm to get him to calm down. He kind of shrugs her off and he doesn't want to touch her, but she pulls him to her and grabs his face, which is a big move for her. Big move. And she says, hey, it's okay. We will survive this. We always do. And immediately the anger starts to bleed from him. You can just tell him he just deflates. And the anger goes away. He just looks straight into her eyes. She's the only person that can calm him like that. The only one. Oh, it was an absolutely amazing scene. And he says to her, you know that we're not going to get Stefan back. You know he's gone. And she says, even bigger step. She says, we'll just have to let him go. All right, we're going to let him go. So finally, Elena has decided to walk away. I think she still believes in her heart of hearts that Stefan can be saved, just not at this moment. Stefan is gone because he wants to be gone, and I think she's just plain tired of fighting. There's nothing she can do about it right at that moment. And she's tired of fighting what she perceives as a losing battle.
I found it! It's all messed up.
And their faces are so close to each other. And I know everyone's like, oh, they're going to kiss, but you know what? It's never that simple. It will never be that simple. So they're right when they're in the middle of this moment, as in just about every other they always share, somebody gets in the way. His phone rings. It's Catherine. And she's calling him to say that she's sorry that the plan went wrong. It really was a good plan, and that's high praise coming from her. And that she wishes it hadn't gone down like that, but there's nothing else that they can do about it. And he asks her, are you going in hiding? She says, well, at least my life isn't boring. Because that's what he had said to Elena. She had asked what happened to Catherine. He said, oh, she dipped out as soon as all this went down. I mean, she was, of course, like she ran like she always does, and can you blame her? Because Klaus would have crushed her, and it's true. Klaus would have ripped her limb from limb. So she says goodbye to him. He tells her to take care of herself, and you see a little look on Elena's face. She's like, why do you give a shit about her? But it is what it is, and that scene moves right from there to the tail end of Catherine's conversation, and she says, and he doesn't know, and I wish that I could tell him, but I can't. And she's obviously not talking to herself. She's talking to Stefan. She's driving in the car, and Stefan's sitting with her. I'm like, oh my God, he left with her. What in the hell is he doing? Apparently, she's giving him a ride, and she's going to drop him off somewhere before she goes and disappears. What nobody knew in the whole course of this thing was when Klaus was talking to Catherine,